So gun violence is something that's not exactly new in America. Now, over the last couple of days, there have been a few high-profile, maybe not high-profile cases of gun violence, but there are a few that I do want to cover. And of course, the first one comes from my home state of Michigan. Now, according to the Detroit Police Department, a driver gunned down another driver who bumped into his car outside of a Home Depot. Now, police said 42-year-old Detroit contractor struck the pickup at about 10 a.m. on Monday with his vehicle following a previous dispute, and both drivers had begun to pull away. Then the pickup driver allegedly pulled alongside the other man's driver's side window and shot him. He fired 2 fatal shots, causing the wounded victim to crash into a stop sign. According to Detroit Police Chief James Craig, the suspect appeared to be waiting for the victim to exit. The suspect followed and fatally assaulted the victim, firing several shots. Now, the unarmed gunman, in this case, is described as a black man in his 30s who was driving a silver Silverado. Now, he is still at large. Now, that's just one case. There's another case. It's actually another tragic shooting, and this time I go to Georgia. Now, in Georgia, an angry driver reportedly shot a Georgia woman in the back because she was driving too slow. She was not driving fast enough, so he shot her. According to WSB-TV, the Georgia woman and her son were driving on a Monday afternoon when another driver pulled up very close behind her in the center lane. Now, this woman is a 44-year-old woman identified as Angelina Cristiano, motioned for the Ford Mustang driver who had been tailing her to pull around her Corvette. What happened? Well, instead of going around, he pulled up alongside her and shot at her. Cristiano was shot in the upper back and lost control of her car on the Stone Mountain Freeway in DeKalb County. Luckily, her 25-year-old son, who was also in the car, was not injured, while she was hospitalized and listed in serious to critical condition. Now, this guy also still at large. So here we have 2 seemingly related traffic shootings. Basically, how they're related is because somebody got pissed, pulled a gun, and shot somebody on the road over something ridiculous. Now, before I can only assume, without data, that these people were law-abiding gun owners until, of course, they stopped being law-abiding gun owners because, God forbid, someone anger them by bumping into their car or driving too slow. Bit of an issue here. See, it used to be you honk your horn and flip them off. Nowadays, in America, we just shoot them. Oh, you're in my way? You temporarily inconvenience me, so I fucking shoot you. This is what happens in America nowadays. Well, you know why? Well, it's because it's easy. Guns are practically everywhere. And let's be honest, when you have a gun, it's almost like having a hammer. And some people will see every problem, every argument, and every disagreement looking like a nail. I'm not saying everybody, but I'm saying it does happen very often. And it's not just in anger that people reach for their gun. It's actually fear. And that brings me to the last story in this little segment. Now, this last story, also disastrous and incredibly sad. This story is where a Texas man shot and killed his wife after mistaking her for a home intruder. Now, according to police, an unidentified San Antonio man told the police that he had heard some noises coming from the front of his house around 4 in the morning. Now, he also saw a flash of light. I'm assuming somebody with a flashlight, right? Now, naturally, he grabbed his shotgun and went to investigate. The man said he saw a light and someone standing at a distance. So he immediately shot. He fired 1 blast from the shotgun, which is funny because, well, it's not funny, but whatever happened to asking who's there? Identify yourself. What are you doing? Put your hands up. I'm armed. Whatever happened to that? It's like shoot first, ask questions later, right? Now, unfortunately, after he pulled the trigger, he realized that this intruder was actually his wife, 48-year-old Deborah Kelly. Well, she ended up dying at the scene. A sad story. Very sad. Now, here's my point on this. Now, I'm sure This man got that gun with the best of intentions, right? I'm going to defend my family. I'm going to defend my home. My home is my castle. I'm going to defend it. Now, unfortunately, what happens, sadly more often than not, is that the gun ends up killing the family members it was there to originally protect. According to a study published in the Journal of Trauma with data from the National Center for Injury Prevention and Control and the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, guns in the home are 22 times more likely to be involved in accidental shootings, homicides, or suicide attempts. Now you're going to say, and I'm pretty sure we're going to have people in the comments, yeah, but guns save lives. How come you never ever cover the stories where a gun saves the lives of people? Why don't you ever report that? You are liberally biased, sir. Well, it's because those cases, which do happen, they don't represent the overall numbers, the overall reality of the issue. Sometimes they do, but according to data, for every one time a gun in the home was used in self-defense or a legally justifiable shooting, there were 4 unintentional shootings, 7 criminal assaults or homicides, and 11 attempted or completed suicides. All those numbers, for one time, it was justifiable. One time, it was home defense. Those are some bad